Have you heard about a woman whose small act of loyalty and faith set her on a path that changed the lives of generations? This is the story of Ruth, a story of redemption, faith, and unwavering devotion. Stop scrolling because you don't want to miss this incredible tale that continues to inspire millions, even today. At the beginning of this story, we enter a time of famine in Bethlehem, located in ancient Israel. Imagine barren fields, empty barns, and families struggling to find their next meal. Stricken by starvation and desperation, a man named Elimelech, along with his wife Naomi and their 2 sons, decides to leave their hometown of Bethlehem and move to Moab, a neighboring land. Moab had food and resources, but it was also a place with religious and cultural differences. Elimelech and Naomi's journey to Moab must have been fraught with mixed emotions. On one hand, they were leaving behind their land, their people, and everything they knew. On the other hand, it was a chance for survival. They settled in Moab, and there, tragedy struck. Elimelech passed away, leaving Naomi as a widow. Her 2 sons later married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth. For 10 years, life moved forward, but more devastation loomed. Naomi's sons both died, leaving her and her daughters-in-law in a painful and uncertain situation. Naomi decided to return to Bethlehem because she heard that the famine had ended. Facing an uncertain future, she encouraged Orpah and Ruth to go back to their families and remarry in Moab. Naomi loved them and wanted what was best for them. Orpah tearfully agreed and returned to her family. But Ruth stayed, and this is where her remarkable character shines. She told Naomi, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried." Ruth committed completely to Naomi, as well as to Naomi's God. This statement of loyalty, love, and faith set her apart. Upon arriving in Bethlehem, Naomi and Ruth were met with curiosity and whispers among the locals. People barely recognized Naomi after her many losses. She told them to call her Mara, meaning bitter, because she felt that her life had been full of sorrow. Think about this moment. 2 widowed women, poor and without provisions, stepping back into a society that might view them with pity or skepticism. But Ruth did not hesitate to support Naomi. In a bid to provide food, Ruth went to the fields to glean. This was an ancient practice where poor people could gather leftover crops during harvest time. By divine guidance, Ruth found herself in the field of Boaz, a wealthy and kind man who also happened to be a relative of Naomi's late husband, Elimelech. Boaz noticed Ruth's dedication and hard work. When he asked about her, he learned of her loyalty and care for Naomi. Boaz went above and beyond the law, instructing his workers to leave extra grain for Ruth to gather. He also told Ruth to feel safe and welcomed in his fields. Imagine Ruth's astonishment and gratitude when she returned home with an abundance of barley, more than she could have hoped for. When Naomi heard whose field Ruth had been working in, her heart began to stir with hope. She explained to Ruth that Boaz was their kinsman redeemer, a person who, under Jewish law, could help a family member in difficult circumstances. Realizing that Boaz could potentially provide security and a future for Ruth, Naomi devised a plan. She instructed Ruth to go to the threshing floor at night, where Boaz was sleeping after a long day of work. Ruth followed Naomi's guidance, showing great humility and trust. She laid at Boaz's feet, a gesture of asking for his protection and care. When Boaz awoke, Ruth made her request. She said, "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a kinsman redeemer." Boaz was touched by Ruth's actions and praised her for her virtue. He didn't act impulsively, but followed the proper procedures. He informed Ruth that there was another man who was a closer relative and who had the first right to act as a kinsman redeemer. The next day, Boaz approached this man in front of the town's elders and presented the situation. When the man declined the responsibility, Boaz happily took on the role. He declared his intention to marry Ruth, not only providing her with protection, but also honoring her loyalty and kindness. When Ruth and Boaz married, it wasn't just an ordinary union. Their story was a testament to God's provision, grace, and the power of faith in action. Boaz and Ruth soon had a son named Obed, and this is where their story becomes even more incredible. Obed would become the father of Jesse, who was the father of King David. Yes, Ruth, a Moabite woman, an outsider, a widow, became a part of the lineage of Jesus Christ. Her small act of faith and loyalty led to a legacy of redemption that continues to impact the world today. Ruth's story teaches us so much about perseverance, courage, and trusting in God's plan even when life is difficult. She didn't let her background, her loss, or her current circumstances define her. Instead, she committed herself to Naomi, to God, and to doing what was right. And through her choices, God worked mightily. So, let me ask you, what small acts of faith and loyalty could you take today that might lead to future blessings you can't even imagine? Ruth didn't know she was paving the way for a king, a Messiah even. She was simply being faithful in her moment. Her story is a reminder that God uses ordinary people and their choices to accomplish extraordinary things. It's easy to feel insignificant in the grand scheme of life, but Ruth's story proves otherwise. Even a simple act of love and devotion can ripple into something far greater than we could ever anticipate. God sees you. Your faith matters. Your perseverance matters. Just like He did with Ruth, God has a purpose for you as well. So whether you're facing challenges that feel overwhelming or you're questioning what role you can play in the bigger picture, remember Ruth. God used her willingness and faith to weave a story of redemption that blessed nations, and He can do the same through you. Make sure to share this message with someone who needs encouragement today. Let Ruth's story bless and inspire them just as it inspires us. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and share. Stay tuned for more incredible stories from the Bible. Until next time, remember that your faith and loyalty, no matter how small, can make a difference. Ensure the expanded voiceover is even more entertaining, but that it maintains the same style, tone, and key points as the original.